Here we are inside the Elddis Majestic 135. If we firstly come to the main control panel, we can turn the 12 volt on just here. Once we've done this, we can then turn the water pump on. The water pump needs to be on for us to be able to get water out the taps. And as you can see, whenever the water pump is actually running, we will get a green illumination just here. We also need the water pump on to be able to flush the toilet and to fill the boiler if it's been drained. Next we have the main isolator for all of the onboard lights. These can all then be individually turned on and off on their own switches. Next, warning light on and off. And then these two buttons here give us condition of leisure battery and how much water is in the fresh tank. Beneath this we then have the whale control panel for the heating and the hot water. If we start with the water heater, as I press it, it will start to go over loads of different icons until it eventually goes back to off again. If we start with the first icon, we have a little picture of a snowflake. This is frost protection for the boiler, so if you have water in the boiler but you don't necessarily want to be heating it and it's cold outside, you can put it into this mode here, and then if the temperature outside drops below 2-3 degrees, it will then come on to protect itself from frost damage. Next we have a single wavy line. Wavy lines represent mains electricity, so we're now using main supply at about 1 kilowatt. Two wavy lines, main supply using 2 kilowatts, so just dependent on the amperage of the site you're on to stop yourself from tripping. If we don't have any mains, we can run on gas, and if we have both power sources available to us, we can run in dual fuel, so main supply at 1 kilowatt on gas and main supply at 2 kilowatts and gas. These are very handy in the winter months, especially if you want to get to temperature nice and quickly. Whenever the boiler is using gas, it will auto ignite itself and you will get a little flame just here to let you know that it is consuming. If there is a problem with the boiler in any shape or form, a red exclamation mark will just appear here, and if you then press this button here, you will get a series of little lights come on just here, and depending on how many there are will depict the problem. In the manual it will then tell you what it is. Once you think you've rectified the problem, if it's simple, you then need to basically reset the control panel. So if it's a water heater problem, you just hold the water heater button in and then press the plus together and it will then reset. And if it's a heater issue, obviously hold the heater button in and then press plus at the same time for this. I will now turn the water heater back off again. And if we now go down to heating, it's very similar in the icons, apart from it doesn't have the snowflake because obviously the heater doesn't require frost protection. So we will firstly have mains electricity at 500 watts, mains electricity at 1 kilowatt, and mains electricity at 2 kilowatts. So again, just dependent on the amperage of the site you're on. Gas on its own, and then we have dual fuel again. We then control the temperature up and down on the plus and the minus. Well, recommend here for night mode if you just need a small amount of heat, and also the fan will be very quiet. And if it's a really hot day, we can put it down to the snowflake and then the fans will just come on without any heat. And then we'll go back to off again. We then have the hob just here, so we have the electric hot plate that works on main supply, and that operates on this dial just here. Red light comes on to let you know it's in operation, and then everything else is gas, so it's push in, twist, and then basically press the igniter down here we go. Beneath we have the oven and the grill, so push in to the left for the oven, and I just move the grill pan and we push in and go to the right. We can then fire up the grill. Beneath you will find gas isolation taps for the appliances. So the top one is the cooker, then we have the hob, fridge and the heating. They can all stay in the on position like they are at the moment. I would say they're more for maintenance. If you smell gas in the van, go to the gas bottle and isolate it at that point there. Tucked right at the very back there, you'll see a plug plugged in, which is for the electric hot plate. Above we have the microwave that works obviously on main supply. As it shows on the sticker just here, make sure that the plate is all removed for travel. We have quick start, stop just here, time select, power setting, etc. just here. The microwave is plugged in just here. We then have the fridge. So main supply just here, 12 volt maintained for when we're driving, and then if we need to use the unit on gas, flick it to the flame. We then need to come across to the temperature control. We then need to hold this in and then push the igniter, and then we want this little line to drift out of the white into the green to let us know that it is lit. Open like so, and then flap across for the travel catch. You'll also see that it has an intermediate setting just here, so we can hold the door ajar to vent it when we're not using it. As soon as we turn it to anything else, it will automatically put itself straight back out again. Directly beneath the fridge we have the consumer unit just here. So we have all the individual MCBs all the way along here, all labelled up. Then we have the main RCD and the test button just here. So if something's not working on mains, this is the first port of call, just to see if you've actually tripped inside the van. We then have the 12 volt fuses down here, and again they're all labelled up. And then we have this black switch just here, which is for the tank heaters. They're currently in the off position. If we now flick it down, they will not come on at the moment because the temperature outside is too hot. So now if there's water in the tanks and the temperature drops below 2-3 degrees, they will then automatically come on to stop any frost damage. If we now go inside the wardrobe, tucked at the back there we have the solar panel regulator. We do not need to do anything with it. The light will just depict what it is actually doing. So you'll see a green flashing light at the moment letting us know that the solar panel is active and popping a charge into the battery. Whenever the battery is at full optimum level, it will just go to a solid green state. We also have in here the digital amplifier for the television aerial. This can be turned on and off just on the side here, and we can control the boost just here. We then undo the collar up here to then raise and lower the mast and get it into the position we require, and then we lock it back into position. Do not over tighten, as we can split this plastic. Do make sure that the aerial is down for travel. Above my head we then have the Omnivent fan. To operate, we firstly need to open the roof vent itself. Middle button then turns the unit on, and then we have arrows out for extraction and arrows in for cooling. Variable fan speed just by pressing. And then make sure all the roof vents are back down for travel. We then have the washroom just here, so we have the basin and the shower, and then the Thetford toilet just here. Bowl swivels all about. It then has the lever to open to the cassette just here, and then blue button to flush. Level indicator just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying, and then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette, it will not come out. Here we have the PIR sensor for the alarm. It's a good idea to press this button every now and then the red light will begin to flash, just so you can check that it's all working. It is wireless, so it does require batteries. The alarm itself is programmed into the main key fob just here. So when we lock it, we will get a single chirp to let you know that the alarm is armed, and when we unlock it, we get a double chirp to let you know that it's unlocked and disarmed. What we can also do is put it into pet friendly mode, where it disarms all the internal sensors within the van, and all we need to do is press the lock button twice. We push it once and then we get that single chirp, and then we press it again and then we get a high pitched chirp to let you know it's in pet friendly mode. With your second set of keys, you get the alarm fob just here with the arm and the disarm on. As we now move to the rear, you will see that I have already lifted up the bench seat just here, which then lets us see the boiler. To drain the boiler down for winterization, we need to come to the yellow lever just here. It's in the closed position currently. To drain the boiler down, make sure the water pump is turned off and then slide across like so. To refill, slide back, fill up your fresh water tank, turn the water pump on, and it will then commence refilling the boiler. I do always suggest that, especially during the winter months, when you drain everything down, make sure that you then go around the motorhome and open up all the taps as well. This will release any airlocks and help in draining down, but also if there was to be a harsh frost, what we hope will happen is, as the water freezes, it will then be forced out the end of the taps to form an icicle instead of expanding in the pipes and splitting it. You will also find here we also have the gas isolation tap for the boiler itself. If we are going to use the rear of the motorhome as a large storage space, what we can also do is flap this down. You will see directly underneath we have levers here. We do have to slightly take the weight off it and then push it in, and exactly the same on the other side. So if I now lift this up and push them, we can then fully fold it completely out of the way, and we can also obviously do it with the other side. To make the rear double bed, it is just a matter of just pulling this out, and exactly the same on the other side. We have the Avtex television just here. It behaves like any television really, on and off on this button just here. You will find tucked along the top USB points And here we have DVD player. We then have all the normal stuff, so we have the television guide just here, and then we can pick whatever we want. And then obviously as you change location, the television may need to be retuned. So instead of having to go through the whole of the television setup, we have this orange button just here. Just hold it in and it will then take you straight back to the retune menu. Just hit OK and it will commence retuning. Next we have the front bed. So to make this, we need to firstly have the driver's seat rotated round like I've already done here. This rotates by pulling this lever here. If we now pull this across, and we now get the grey infill, we then pop this into place like so. We then have this infill just here. We then remove this part here, and then we get the topper and then pop it in to place just here. Directly underneath the travel seats are the water pump that just sits here, and then the fresh water tank is also beneath, so we can gain access to it. There is a cap on it, so if you want to add cleaning powders, etc., you can easily do so.